I don't think I introduced myself. Hi YouTube, my name is Miriam, and this is my channel. So my process usually is to start by making a list of all the words that represented the year that I am reflecting on. So for 2023, I have my list of words, and then what I do is I choose the one word that encompasses the whole year. So the one that was pretty much the general theme that kept coming up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the words and how they were a part of my year, and then I will share the one word that was the word of 2023. So to start, I would say this was a big year for me in journaling. So I've always loved to journal. I've had my first diary when I was 9, and I've accumulated so many notebooks and other diaries and journal, and I tried all kinds. So 2023, I would say, was the first year where I was consistent, where it became a part of my life. And then Instagram. I was like, you know what? Not only do I want to explore my creativity and, just put myself on paper, but I also wanted to share it. So I started an Instagram that was just meant for me to connect with other people in the journaling planning community, and just to be able to put a piece of myself out there, which is something that terrifies me. So, yay, we did it. So another big word was planning. Planning never came easy for me. Or I should say, I was always really good at the planning part. I was really good at, looking or realizing what I wanted to do, and then make a plan for it. All the things that I need to do to make it happen, and yet it never happened. It never came through. And so this year I figured out a bit of a system of how I could actually use my planner. And so it was a bit of an adventure when it comes to planning, but it was a big word in 2023. Reflection was big. Actually, this word came into my life at the end of 2022, which connects a little bit to another word on my list, which is ADHD. So in 2022, I kind of started figuring out that I probably had ADHD my whole life. I was 36 at the time. So what I ended up doing was I got one of these big sketch notebooks, and I spent the whole month of December, all through the month of December, reflecting not only on 2022, but on my whole life, on my childhood, on all the things that I was told my whole life, patterns in my life, all the changes that happened from different career paths to different hobbies to a lot of big projects, a lot of ideas, a lot of creativity that never saw the light. A big one was the way that I expressed my emotions, and then going into the whole, emotional dysregulation. So that was when I realized how important reflection is, and how it allows you to really dig deep and to examine, to analyze, to let go of a lot of the feelings, a lot of the pent-up disappointments, and then it introduced me to the grief process of 36 of my life, that I thought I was disorganized and I was lazy and I just couldn't get things done. I couldn't keep promises. I couldn't keep my place organized or clean. So in 2023, reflection stayed with me. and it became more of sometimes a daily journal entry that I would do, reflect on different incidents, reflect on different feelings, and then it could be a part of my monthly resets, and to kind of just give myself the space to let it all out and then put it on paper. Yeah, reflection was a big word in 2023. Now, anxiety. Anxiety was present. It was present, it was big, it was constant. It was just there. It was there. I could feel it like vibrating like in my body. I felt it sometimes during the night. I felt it at work. I felt it in even in my personal space. Anxiety was present for different reasons. And then a word connected to that was stuck. I had a feeling of being stuck, that I couldn't move, that I was in a standstill. I didn't know which direction to go. I wanted to say things that I couldn't. I wanted to do things that I couldn't. Stuck was a big word, and it was a big state of mind that I was in, which also, connecting it to another word, happened in waves. So everything in 2023 happened in waves. So it was kind of comforting in the sense that even when I was the most anxious, I knew that it was a wave that I needed to ride. When something difficult happened, it could be the biggest wave ever, or it could be just a small wave, but I knew that I had to ride it out. And so that kind of helped me go through 2023, is that vision in my head. And then I kind of added it to a sort of, whenever I wanted to just close my eyes and let it all go, I would imagine being at the beach and then seeing the waves coming in and going out and coming in and going out. And sometimes I allowed myself to just stand there, sit there, and just exist and watch and reflect and just be there. And so waves was a big thing. Even when it comes to movement, I always like to sit down at my desk, and whenever I felt anxiety coming in, and I would do these like waves movements. And then it could go as big or it could be as small as my body needed it, I would breathe, and I would move in waves. And so with that came another word, floating. At time in 2023, I didn't feel that my feet were firm on the ground. I felt like I was floating through the year, and not always in a good way, not always in a bad way. It just felt like sometimes I was watching my life happen, and I felt like I was just like floating above it, or that I was just going with the motions, and I wasn't actively living it. There was that feeling of not steadiness, of doubts, which is another word for 2023. I started doubting myself, my instincts, my feelings, my thoughts, my relationships, my professional life, I used to be really in sync with myself and in touch with myself, and I felt like I lost that. I felt like if anything, I could always trust my intuition, and then all of a sudden, I was like, what if I can't even trust that? So that opened up another door to another word in 2023, which is OCD. So I am currently in the process of trying to get a diagnosis for ADHD and OCD. I could go more into details, but maybe I would share another video to kind of explain how I got to this point. But doubts were really present in my life, and so I had to actively continue to reflect, to observe, and to connect everything to my values, which values was another word for 2023. At the beginning of it, I did this exercise where I did it by process of elimination. The goal was to get you to your 5 core values. So I did that, and then I tried, whenever I had doubts, whenever I had anxiety, whenever I felt like I was stuck, or I wanted to move and get things done and go back to feeling who I was, I went back to my values, and I tried to match every action I take and to match every thought I have and every feeling to those values. So I'm gonna do another video to kind of talk about my values in 2023 and what actions I took to manifest them, and then the exercise that I did again at the end of this year to kind of figure out what my values would be throughout the 2024 year. So highs and lows. The highs were really, really high, and the lows were really, really low. I tend to do things in extreme. What I would love to have, I think, in 2024 is maybe of an in-between year, in between state of feeling and mind. Because I tend to either be, really happy, elated, excited, motivated, I'm ready to take on the world, and then at other times I'm really like low. I don't want to get out of bed. I'm just like, you know what, let me just sit down all day and watch TV. So I would stop journaling, I'd stop planning, and that was okay, because remember, waves. Things happen in waves. And then the last word that everything ties to, and it ended up being my word of the year for 2023, was me. Before 2023, I think I lived my life and I saw myself always in relation to others, or in connection with who I was with, who my friends were, what was the job that I did, what was my relationship with my family members, with my surroundings, with my, it was always not who I was at my core, separate. So if all of these things weren't there, and I know that they influenced who I was, but I could only see myself as I am connected to them. And so in 2023, I really put me at the heart of all of my life. I put me front and center. I spent a lot of me time. I took care of myself. I also tried to rediscover who I was, connect with who I was, learn about who I was and how I've changed in the last few years. My life has been quite eventful. A lot has happened, and mainly in the last, I would say, 10 to 12 years, where there was constant movement, and it was things that were being thrown at me, and I was forced to react, and I was forced to just dodge some of them and go with the flow with some others, and go through some of the things that life was throwing at me. So for 2023, I reclaimed myself, and I was really involved with myself, and I was trying to give myself the time that I needed and the energy that I needed, and I put a lot of thought into my my existence, into just who I was. So these are the words that kind of tells the story of my 2023. So this would be my first ever YouTube. So hopefully I'm gonna edit it and I'm gonna post it and let this journey begin.